Hello and welcome to the Profitable Baker podcast, the show for bakers who mean business. I'm Annie Bennett, founder of the Home Baking Business Academy, and every week I'll be sharing practical lessons, mindset shifts, and inspiring stories from bakers who are building businesses they love. Because success in this industry isn't about who bakes the fanciest cakes, it's about who builds the strongest business foundations. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the Profitable Baker podcast with me, Annie Bennett. Last episode, we talked about looking at brands and bakes you admire without falling into the trap of copying them. And if you've been with me the last few weeks, you'll know we've moved out of our sales confidence series and into something a little different for July: brand identity. This month inside the Academy, we'll be spending time on this, auditing where your brand actually stands, getting better at spotting branding in the real world, writing product descriptions that sound like you, and building a content rhythm you can actually sustain. But it all starts with a question, and it's the question I want you to think about today. Does your brand look like your business feels? Let me explain what I mean by that. It's not as abstract as it sounds. When you started your baking business, you had a feeling about it. Maybe it was a warmth. You wanted people to feel like they were getting something made with real care, the way a grandmother's kitchen feels. Maybe it was a joy and a bit of fun, bright, playful, bit cheeky. Maybe it was quiet elegance, refined, considered, a bit luxurious. Whatever it was, that feeling is the actual heart of your business. It's why people choose you over the bakery down the road or the supermarket cake aisle. It's the thing that makes someone say, "Oh, that's so them," when they see your work. Now, here's the question. When someone lands on your Instagram profile or scrolls past your stories or opens your website for the first time, do they feel that? Or do they feel something else entirely? Possibly something a bit flat, a bit generic, this could be anyone's bakery? Because I see this constantly. A baker whose actual work, the flavour combinations, the care in finishing, the way they talk to customers is warm and personal and full of character. And then their brand, the visual and written impression they're putting out into the world, is inconsistent, borrowed, doesn't quite match. And that gap matters more than people think. Here's why it matters. Your brand is doing a job before you ever get the chance to, before a customer tastes anything, before they speak to you, before they read a single review. Your brand, your colours, your photography, the words you use, the feel of your packaging is making a promise on your behalf. If that promise doesn't match what you actually deliver, two things can happen. Either the customer is disappointed because what they imagined didn't show up, or, and this is the one I think happens far more with home bakers, the customer never finds you in the first place because the brand undersold what you're actually capable of. You've underpriced yourself in the visual sense before you've even had the chance to underprice yourself on the invoice. So today isn't teaching you about graphic design. I'm not going to tell you what fonts to use or what shade of pink is on trend. It's not my area of expertise. This episode is about something underneath all of that, helping you notice honestly where the gap is between how your business feels and how it looks. Let's start with the feeling, because you can't audit a gap until you know what you're measuring against. I want you to think about 3 words that describe how you want someone to feel when they interact with your business. Not what you sell, how it feels. Here's some examples just to get you thinking. Is it warm, playful, indulgent, calm, bold, nostalgic, elegant, homely, fun? Take a second. What are your 3 words? Could be some of those, could be others. Once you've got them, hold on to them because we're going to use them as a kind of test for everything else. Now let's actually look, and I mean look properly with intention, the way we talked about last episode. Open your Instagram profile, pretend you've never seen it before. Pretend you're a customer who's just been tagged in a comment and clicked through for the first time. What's the very first impression? Before you read a single caption, what does the grid feel like? Is it consistent? Do the photos look like they belong together? Or does it feel like 3 different businesses took turns posting? Now look at your colours, not just in your logo, but in your packaging, your photography backdrops, your story highlights. Are they consistent, or are you using whatever felt right in the moment each time? Now read your bio, your captions, a few of your most recent posts. What's the tone? Are you warm and chatty, formal and polished, a mix that changes depending on your mood that day? Does the way you write match those 3 words you just chose? And finally, this is the one that catches people out. Does your pricing presentation match? If your 3 words include elegant, indulgent, or premium, does your price list look like it belongs to that brand? Or does it look like a bullet point list dashed off in a hurry, sitting underneath beautifully styled photography? This is the audit. It's not complicated. It's just honest looking. I want to give you permission for something here because I think a lot of bakers hold back from this exercise because they're worried about what they'll find. You are allowed to find a gap. In fact, you will almost certainly find a gap because every single business has one, including mine, including the businesses you admire most. Brand is never finished. It's never perfectly resolved. It's an ongoing relationship between what you intend and what you put out into the world. And that relationship needs tending. Finding a gap isn't a failure, it's information. It's the single most useful thing you can do because you can't close a gap you haven't identified. So when you go through this audit, and I really want you to do it, not just listen and nod, try to notice without judging. Just notice. Oh, that photo doesn't really match my other words. Oh, my bio sounds a bit formal, but I want to feel warm and chatty. The price list really doesn't look like the rest of my brand at all. That's the work. Noticing clearly and without spiraling into self-criticism. I also want to flag something that comes up a lot when bakers do this audit for the first time because it's a really common trap. Sometimes the gap isn't that your brand looks wrong, it's that it looks like someone else's right. This happens especially when you've been inspired by a brand you admire, which again is exactly what we talked about in the last episode. And somewhere along the way, instead of borrowing the principle, you borrowed the look. So your business now visually resembles a brand that isn't actually you. It might be polished, it might even be technically well done, but it doesn't say your 3 words, it says theirs. If that's what you find when you do this audit, that's actually a really valuable discovery because the fix isn't do more branding, the fix is do more you. So what do you do with all this? Now, I'm not going to ask you to overhaul your entire brand this week. That's not realistic. And frankly, it's not necessary. Most of the time, closing the gap is about small, consistent adjustments rather than a complete rebuild. Here's what I want you to do instead. Pick 2 or 3 things from your audit that feel like the biggest mismatch between how your business feels and how it currently looks. Maybe it's your caption tone. Maybe it's your price list presentation. Maybe it's just being more consistent about which 2 or 3 colours show up in every photo you post. Write those 2 or 3 things down. That's your focus for the rest of this month. And it's exactly what we'll be building on in the Academy sessions ahead, including the brand walk, where you'll get to see how other businesses in and out of baking are making these same decisions in the real world. Before I wrap up, I want to bring this back to something practical because I know it can feel a bit soft and conceptual when we're talking about feelings and impressions rather than hard numbers. Here's the practical version. Your brand is one of the few parts of your business that works for you even when you're not actively selling. While you're baking, while you're sleeping, while you're in the school run, your Instagram grid, your website, your packaging are all quietly doing the job of telling someone what to expect from you and whether it's worth paying for. A brand that genuinely matches the quality and care you put into your work isn't decoration. It's doing the sales work on your behalf for free around the clock. So the question I opened with, does your brand look like your business feels, isn't really about aesthetics for their own sake. It's about whether the promise you're making matches the business you're actually running. And when those two things line up, customers don't just see consistency, they feel trust. And trust is what gets someone to actually click order. Now, if this episode has got you wanting to go further than 3 words and a quick scroll down your grid, that's exactly what we're building inside the Profitable Baker Academy this month. Week 1 is a full guided brand audit with a proper checklist. So instead of just noticing the gap, you'll come away with 2 or 3 clear things to actually work on. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back very soon with the next episode. Until then, go and have an honest look at your own grid. And remember, noticing the gap is the whole first step. For Bakers Who Mean Business, I'll see you next time.